I see a lot of people joining us here on the training. Great to have you. Again, if you're just jumping in, my name's Josh Rhodes with the Rocket Company. Sam Hill here is joining me and will provide some unbelievable training on the huge step that you can take after today. It's going to be a fast action day. I see people from Michigan and Missouri. Looks like we have some folks using all kinds of different digital solutions out there currently. Some people haven't started yet. Some people are just jumping into a digital strategy themselves. And today we're going to equip you with really the simple, distilled strategies that help you understand digital giving more in a fast-moving society where information technology is kind of taking over, even in the church space. And so we want to be able to equip you as a church leader to have more money for ministry. And we want to talk about all the things that we've learned as online giving solution providers at Rocket Donations so that you'll have everything you need after today to move forward with breakthrough. So as we go, like I said, put your questions into the question box. Each slide will probably ignite some new thought in your brain or some new breakthrough, and that's what we're hoping for. So make sure you dial in, turn your phones on silent, close the office door, and give us just the next 30 to 40 minutes to have your attention because it's going to be huge for you. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Sam Hill. He's our resident online giving expert at the Rocket Company. The Rocket Company has been working with churches for years now. We have over 10,000 church partners, and we've seen it all, basically. We've seen every pattern, size, behavior, demographic, direction, downswing, upswing of every kind of church from various traditions. And that's where a lot of what we're talking about comes from today. And guys, just get ready. We're going to say some kind of alternative things. We're going to say some things maybe that the marketplace isn't telling you. We're going to give you some straight talk, and we're going to tell you what you need to be distracted by and what you don't need to be distracted by. So again, I want to introduce Sam Hill. Welcome today, Sam. Let them know a little bit about yourself and take us through the training, and thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Josh. I am excited to talk digital giving. Just as Josh said, one of the cool things at the Rocket Company is that we interact with tons of churches, all shapes and sizes, in the trenches, you name it. And so we're able to really share not just what technology trends are happening, but we're able to share what's making digital work and not work. And so I'm interacting, and I'm just one leader here at the Rocket Company and Rocket Donations in particular, among a couple, but I'm interacting with 12 to 15 churches a day just by myself about digital. And so we are hearing it all. We are hearing things that are working, things that are not working. And we're going to talk today about how to take one big step forward with your digital giving. And that's what every church wants. And there's really two kinds of churches that want to take a step forward. And so I'm going to kind of create two different scenarios here. There's churches that we interact with that are kind of at a starter place. And what I mean by that is they're either just now starting to investigate digital giving, so they don't currently have a solution at all, or they considered it a while back and got started with what we call a starter solution, such as PayPal or something comparable to that. And they realize they want to take a big step forward. They know that it has potential. They know they need it, and they want to take a step forward. The other church are ones that maybe are anywhere from 1 to 4 to 5 years down the road on digital. They've made some progress. They've got participation, but they've lost steam, and they don't really know what the next step is. They know they're not where they could be or where they maybe need to be and want to be. And especially on the recurring donation side, they know there's lots of room to grow. So those are the two types of churches that really want to take a step forward that we interact with. And so the goal of this training, this webinar, is just to provide some principles, some talking points, some things to think about as you evaluate your digital strategy, and specifically how you can make that step forward. And so digital giving, it's no secret. Everybody knows that they need digital giving. They might have, maybe it's a vague notion that they need it. Maybe it's simply based on, hey, we know that, quote unquote, lots of young people are using it, so we need it. Digital giving is exciting and it is potent. And what I mean by that is it has incredible potential to have a huge impact on the financial future of your church. But a lot of churches don't really know specifically how it has that huge impact. They just kind of have a vague notion that it's important and they need it. So I want to talk very specifically because as we interact with churches, we find they're not exactly clear on why they need digital and how it specifically helps them. Because as Josh said, churches need more money for more ministry. And a lot of times churches lose sight of that core reason why you're even considering digital. So, and what I mean by that is the purpose of digital is not to be cool. It's not to just be in tune with the young people or anything like that. It's way bigger than that. Digital is a viable way to increase your annual giving and create recurring stability in the long haul. So let's talk specifically how digital giving can impact more money for more ministry, can impact the operating budget year over year. There's two specific ways. The number one way is that it will increase your total annual participation. And it does this specifically through the reasons you see here on the slide. Because digital giving is so convenient, you will get greater participation from everybody in your church when you have an easy-to-use digital giving solution that you communicate to them to go and use. Most people carry cards. Cash and checks are not around like they used to be. Statistics show when churches emphasize digital giving, they increase overall giving. So I'm talking about if your budget's $200,000, you'll see a 20, sometimes as high as 40, 50% annual increase. So more participation. And you get that because you're playing to people's habits, because everybody's using technology, not just young people, all demographics to the top end of 70 and almost 80 years old, using digital to pay for things and to transact financially. And so by playing to those habits, you will get great participation across the board. You will also recover donations that you're missing. Churches that don't have a solution or one that's not maximized like it should, you're leaving donations on the table every single week. And those are donations that you miss when somebody's sick, they're on vacation, they forgot their checkbook, they don't have enough cash, you name it. And so increasing annual giving in total is a huge part of digital. You should be seeing annual year-over-year increases through your digital giving because you'll get more participation in total because you're playing to habits that are happening and then you're recovering donations that you're missing. So that's one key piece as to how digital specifically helps you get, again, more money for more ministry. Keep that at the forefront of your mind. More money for more ministry. That's what churches need. And so if you keep that goal in front of you, it'll guide your decision making and your strategy, and you won't be guided by, again, different, feature focus. We see that with churches. They're so focused on features and they can get sidetracked from the ultimate goal, which is just simply, it's a vehicle to help you get more money for more ministry. So keep it simple. The second way that digital can help you in your operating budget is it can help you have more stability. Okay, so I talked about increasing annual donations. You get more participation, but another way is it provides more stability for your budget. And this is really the X factor for churches in the long haul. We consult and interact with tons of churches who may have made some progress in digital, but they've hit a wall. And the wall they've hit is that, sure, they might have 20 all the way up to some churches we've interacted with and have integrated over to our platform at 60%, 60% digital participation. But their recurring donation base is less than 15%, less than 10%, less than 5%. And so, yeah, they saw a spike. They're getting the year-over-year increase, or they did when they started, but now they're losing steam because they have not emphasized recurring donations. Recurring donations are crucial. They are predictable donations, which makes it easy for churches to make the hard decisions. I interacted with a church leader a couple weeks ago, and they need to hire somebody. And to hire somebody, you need to have predictable donations coming in. they had some participation on digital, but it was quote unquote on demand, which means they don't know when it's coming in. It may be a good Sunday, it may be a bad Sunday. And if the communication strategy isn't consistent and effective, then it can really be a troubling scenario. So more stability for your budget is a key second reason specifically how digital giving can help churches get more money for more ministry. So remember those two things. Digital giving should increase your annual donation base in total. And then number two, it should create more stability through predictable recurring donations. As you get past month 6, month 12, month 18, you're 2 or 3 years down the road in your digital strategy, that is where you will feel a huge impact. And we've interacted with churches who are at that 50, 60% participation, digital participation in their church, and they have told us they would gladly trade it for 20 to 30% recurring. Today, they would make the trade. That's how crucial recurring donations are and how they provide stability, and you can make decisions better and easier when you know you have donations coming in. There's two things that churches do when it comes to digital. Okay, so when churches realize, hey, this could really help us get more money for more ministry, there's two reactionary things that we see churches do, and maybe you can identify. The first thing churches do is they go out and they find the simplest, cheapest solution they can. They really go for just throw something out there. Let's just get it out there. It's a necessary evil. We know we got to have it, so throw it out there. And the simplicity part, hey, that's great intention, because I'm going to talk a lot more about how simplicity is crucial. But you do have to have a certain technological solution that's easy and usable. And usually when you throw the cheapest thing out there you can find, you usually get what you pay for, and you usually sacrifice technology, and you always sacrifice strategy. And one of the things that we consult and we tell churches is that if you treat digital like an expense only, it will treat you like an expense only. And that is certainly the case that churches have experienced. So that's one reactionary way churches go to try to throw a digital solution out there. The other route, which is more common than not right now in our tech-savvy society, is churches go out and they become feature-focused. And they go and here they are 3-6 months later, and all of a sudden they're a technology company. And instead of spending time communicating with donors to get more money for more ministry, instead of doing more ministry, they're managing apps, they're managing technology, and spending a lot of time in there. And oftentimes those are the reasons why they don't have as many recurring donations as they would like, is because they might have 10 different options for people to give. And we always say as an organization, the numbers that you focus on or the things you put before your people is the way that they will go. So if you put 10 different options out there, they go 10 different directions. And so you really miss the larger opportunity that digital provides. So those are two just reactionary things that churches do. They either go and they become a technology company, and we like to joke with churches, they can like to complicate things. And so they turn into a technology company and they're managing technology instead of doing more ministry and talking to donors. Or they go and simply throw the cheapest thing out there they can find. They know they need it. Maybe they've got a finance board who's really putting the pressure on them as far as expense and cost, and they just throw it out there. They go the expense route, and in return, they get expense-like results. So those are two reactionary. What's crucial is that you don't go to either one of those pitfalls. There is a better way. That's one of the things we want to communicate to churches. There's a better way than those two reactionary responses. And the better way is simple technology that's usable and in keeping with digital trends, both inside the church space and outside the church space, because there's a lot of technology in the church space that gets really pushed into the church space. And there's really not even that many trends outside the church space to support it as a viable means as a part of your strategy. So you want to have simplicity. We encourage churches to find a solution that has enough features to be used, but is extremely simple so that you can reach the largest part of your donor base. We always say that simplicity trumps complexity every single time. And here's obviously a little kid holding an iPhone. I've got a 7 and a 5-year-old boy. They can navigate my iPhone with their eyes closed. At will, they can do it. But when it comes to something really complex with all these bells and whistles, it's confusing and they can't use it. You need to focus on the end user when it comes to your people engaging with your digital solution. A lot of churches will, number one, focus on themselves, and they'll say, hey, we want to choose something that's going to be really easy for us to run reports, and so we don't have to spend any time on it. And yes, you want your solution to be simple so that you don't have to waste time in it. But some churches don't want to put any effort into it themselves, the church leadership. And so they focus too much and make their decisions based on what's going to be easiest for us, what's going to save us 5 minutes and 10 minutes. And they miss the forest for the trees, because the person you need to focus on the most is the end user, the donor. It's the end user. And so as you evaluate your digital strategy, keep them in mind. And simplicity for the end user is crucial. Complexity is convoluted technology without a clear strategy, buzzwords, theories, hopes. One of the things that we talk about with church leaders when we evaluate their digital strategy is we kind of just take inventory and say, hey, what do you have right now on your digital strategy? And they throw out all the bells and whistles. We've got this, we've got this, we've got this. Why do you have those things? That's one of the things that church leaders need to start asking more, is why do we feel like we need this and this and this and this? And do these things really contribute to the goal of getting more money for more ministry? Is it going to be simple for our people? Is the strategy focused on recurring donations? A lot of times churches will just kind of buy into all these mentalities without really even thinking about, how do we know these things are really going to help our people give more often, give on a recurring basis, so we can have more money for more ministry, when really what they need is a simple, intuitive solution with a robust strategy behind it. Something that allows people to give and donate with speed. It's clear. They can't miss what they're supposed to be doing. And it's focused, again, on results. And I'll go even a step further and say it's focused on recurring donations. That is so crucial. So you got your two different images there. One of just kind of the crazy big plane that I just showed you, and this one, the jet, right? It's simple. It's not huge, but it works. It gets you where you want to go as a church, financially speaking, quickly. So focused on simplicity, it is crucial. I want to cover some myths about digital giving. We get all kinds of questions from churches. We love getting questions. We consult with so many. As Josh mentioned, our reach is 10,000. And so we are able to provide lots of information about what's working for churches, what's not working for churches. And what we do, and what we've done with our Rocket Donation Solution, is we have correlated what's working and not working for churches with digital trends. And so we're trying to identify where do they intersect and help churches accomplish their goal of getting more money for more ministry. And so one of the things we get asked a lot by churches is they say, hey, I need to have all these bells and whistles. And you can name off probably features you may have heard of before. I won't say them all, but a lot of churches think they have to have such and such a feature for it to be successful. And you don't have to do everything. Do the right things. A strategy does not make you, a bell and a whistle doesn't make you effective. A strategy does. And a lot of churches are looking to the technology to implement for them, instead of using a comprehensive communication strategy with their people to actually use the technology. Technology and donor communication are two different things. They're not the same thing. And technology cannot communicate to donors in a way that will actually make them utilize the technology. Now, I'll put a caveat there, because I do interact with some church leaders who use technology to communicate with donors. And so pay attention here. This is key. I interacted with a church leader who was really heavy into text reminders to give. Text remind, text remind, text remind. But it wasn't working. And they were about a year down the road. Hey, we've been using text reminders. It hasn't really done anything. Why? Because technology doesn't make people give. Vision does. Inspiration does. Strategy does. Hey, this is why you need to give. This is the cause you're giving to. That's what motivates giving, not technology. The technology is simply the vehicle through which they can donate. So keep that in mind. Myth number 2, digital giving is about targeting a younger crowd. This is huge, okay? This is huge. Pay really close attention. Tons of church leaders are convinced that the main reason to have a digital giving strategy is to reach the 20 and 30 somethings. Total mistake. And I'm going to tell you why. Older generations, if you look at any study, any trend, to the top end of 70 are using technology to pay bills. And maybe you're in that age, the 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old yourself, so you will be able to testify and say, yep, I'm using it. Or you can think of other people. My parents in their late 60s, early 70s use and pay for 100% of their bills online. So do not base your strategy strictly around reaching people in their 20s and 30s. It's a small segment, number one, and we also kind of joke because it's also the segment that doesn't have much money relative to the rest of the church. And so you don't want to drive your whole strategy through a narrow demographic that doesn't really have a huge portion of donations they can make. And so you need to really open your eyes. One of the things that we do in churches we consult on digital is say, hey, look, you just have a narrow focus and a narrow demographic and a narrow feature that you think this demographic has to have. The picture is way bigger than that. You need to look at all demographics. Don't base it off of one demographic or one feature. Base your decision and your strategy on results. Is this going to help us get the greatest participation by everybody so that we can have more money for more ministries? So that is crucial. Let's talk about a third myth. I need to look for the cheapest provider. Hey, there's certainly a cost. We are very well aware that digital giving has costs involved. Costs for the technology, there's processing fees, there's transaction fees, etc. But a lot of churches get very hung up on the cost itself, and that's because they only look at it as an expense. And I mentioned that earlier. But you have to look at it as a potential return on investment. For the average church, just take whatever your annual budget is. If you implemented an effective, easy to use, intuitive, somebody could donate, let's just say they could donate in less than a minute in 3 clicks. If you had that solution that was that easy, and more importantly, you communicated about that consistently using different forms of communication, I mean email, giving talks, sermons, slides, videos, multiple forms of communication, and you communicated to your donors about utilizing digital giving, what if you just saw on a conservative end a 10 to 20% bump in your annual budget? The return for the average church, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. In some cases, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. In large churches, it's millions. So churches don't need to go out and just look for the cheapest provider. Let ROI and getting actual return, looking for budget increase, let that drive the decision, because oftentimes churches end up looking at numbers that aren't really realistic. And what I mean is they maybe are held back from utilizing a provider that provides a robust strategy. And oftentimes the difference in cost is only a couple $100 a year, if that. And so churches will try to save $300 a year and go with a strategy that is not as good as far as the technology goes. So it's not easy to use. It has no strategy. And the church says, well, we'll do all the communication ourselves. And they don't. And they end up dropping the ball, which is understandable. Churches have a lot of things going on. It's hard to implement a digital strategy 12 months of the year. So what ends up happening, they went with a cheaper solution. They've got cheap technology. They have no strategy for the long term, season after season, and it doesn't get used. And again, if you treat it like an expense, it will treat you like an expense and be an expense. If you treat it like an investment and look for return on investment, financially speaking, then you will get return. If you look for a solution that will provide you with return on effort, something else we talk a lot about, ROE, something different. If churches want to put in effort, they will see return, period. It's all about implementation. It's about execution. So you need to really ask the question, what is your target in terms of evaluating your digital strategy? If your target is features, then go with software that gives you the most features. If your target is results, go with software that gives you enough features to get the greatest result through the largest demographic over the longest period of time. It's not about a small demographic. It's not about 90 days, 180 days. It's about year 1, year 2, year 3. Are you seeing increased total participation? And are you seeing of that participation, people convert to recurring donations, which will provide the actual stability? You've got to ask the question, every single time. Will this feature specifically provide us with more money for more ministry? And specifically, will it help us provide more recurring donations coming into the operating budget, increasing the operating budget so you can do more money for more ministry? These questions are crucial. A lot of churches spend a ton of time with software companies selling features instead of results. And results are financial results. And you've got to really think about, is our strategy based on financial results? Who cares if your features are cool, if you're hip, if you're in step, if they're not being used, and if they're not being used on a recurring basis? They need to be used on a recurring basis so that you can get more money for more ministry and do the things that you want to do. So focus on results and always keep that in front of you. Josh mentioned it. I've talked about it. More money for more ministry is absolutely crucial. We've created a technology that's simple, it's elegant, it's fast, less than a minute, it's intuitive. Intuitive means anybody can do it. The reason the iPhone, the reason my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old can slide their finger across my iPhone, right, and launch a game they like is because it's intuitive. It means just without even thinking, they roll right through it. Make sure your technology is like that so that all demographics can participate. And also mobile enhanced. Mobile's huge. Nobody will deny it. Mobile is huge. The number one way people are using their mobile device in terms of financial transactions is through their browser. It is not through apps. It is not through texting. It is browsing. Texting is, we were talking earlier in consulting with churches. We see this trend. It's called the Snapchat strategy churches have for digital. And the Snapchat strategy is they're relying on features to sustain their digital giving strategy. Texting is used for quick communication with friends and family, period. Snapchat is used for quick communications and then it disappears. It's not used for long-term financial commitments over the long haul. Young people who struggle to make recurring commitments at all are not the ones you want to base the entire strategy about. They're important, but keep in mind, again, the picture is so much bigger than just reaching a small segment. Our partnership, our coaching, and our resources are unmatched. One of the things that churches need to ask themselves is, do they want a vendor or a partner? It's another key question. And some churches do want a vendor, and that's fine. But a vendor is what it is for a reason. A vendor is you put your quarter in, you get something out, and you go on your way. A partner is something that's totally different. A partner is where, and you got to love this image here, but a partner is where they don't just give you something and send you on your way. They actually teach you how to use it. They're a coach. They're a mentor for the long haul. And they're a mentor and a coach who can provide you with actual value beyond day one. And that's what we're about at the Rocket Company, is that we know how to help people get results in giving. That's what we've been doing for over a decade, 10,000 churches all over the world. Churches really need to ask themselves, when it comes to digital giving, are we just looking for a vendor or are we just looking for a partner? That's a key question. I'd say that's the most important question churches need to ask about which direction they go with their digital giving strategy. A vendor focuses on features, focuses on cheap pricing, focuses on software. A vendor is what we call a quantity approach. It's sign up as many people as possible and send them on their way. A partner focuses on donor communication, which again is the only thing that drives giving at the end of the day. Technology does not. Focuses on clarity, a partner does, for your finance team. What are the actual goals? What are we trying to accomplish here with digital? And a partner focuses on your overall church budget. Again, I mentioned the two specific ways. We're not feature focused, although we know features are important as long as they help you accomplish the financial goals. We're financially focused first and foremost, because that is what will actually enable you to do more money, have more money to do more ministry, is if your digital strategy actually impacts the op budget. And that's crucial. And it does it in two ways, as I mentioned, increasing annual donations and providing recurring stability. Rocket Donations is centered around you having more money for more ministry. And so we just want to let you know, if you're looking for a partner that can help you make the next step forward, we want you to jump on a specific coaching call with a Rocket Donations team leader. I take some of those. We have several other Rocket Donations leaders and specialists that can take those as well. And we want you to get on a call, and we want to do one thing, and that is we want to show you how our technology works. We want to show you how our strategy works and what it means for you. There's two pieces to a successful digital giving strategy. The first piece is technology. The second piece is strategy. On this call that you can schedule, we're going to cover both of those pieces, and we're going to cover how they specifically help your situation. Again, a quality approach versus a quantity approach, a partner approach versus a vendor approach. You need to communicate to us, here's where we're at. Here's the goals that we have set before us. Here's where we want to go. We want more money. We want to invest effort and get return, ROE. We know it's an investment. We know the potential annual increases and recurring increases as well is huge. And so we want to invest it. There's really two types of churches. I mentioned them earlier. You're either a church that has no digital giving solution at all. Have maybe a starter solution such as PayPal, and you want to take a step forward. You want to take a step forward. Or maybe you're 1 to 5 years down the road on your digital strategy, but you've lost steam. You don't have the recurring donation base that you wish you did, and you don't know why. A lot of churches are just stuck in their digital giving, and they're not really sure why. And on a private call with us that's one-to-one, we can help you figure out why you're stuck. Again, our reach is 10,000 churches across the world. We can help you figure out why you're stuck, and we can help you if you're a church with no solution or a starter solution, really take the next step forward, specifically the right step forward. So again, the goal of this entire webinar today is to help churches figure out how to take a step forward in digital giving. And we want to make sure that you know we're standing by, ready to schedule an appointment with you. It's a customized consulting call, and you're going to see on our screen here where you can do that. It's a specific website, meetme.so/rocket donations. And I'm going to leave this up here for just a minute, and we'll do some Q&A time.
Absolutely. So if you're here and you've been listening to what Sam has to say in our training and it resonates with you, go ahead and just in the chat box over on the questions, just type in the word yes. Like, yes, this has been helpful. Yes, this is what I was looking for. Yes, if you think this has just been helpful on any level, it doesn't, no matter what it is, we'd love to just have you type that into the box over on the side. I know we've had some questions pop up. And there's really no risk here. We want you to just jump on an appointment, because if you're looking for more money for your church, there's really one way to do it on a sustained level. And getting with a private consultation and a private walkthrough with someone on our Rocket Donations team is really the way to do it. So make sure you go to meetme.so/rocket donations now, because obviously we can't talk to everyone all the time if you want to get the time period that you want to book. One question that I know came through, Sam, is I'm a church and we're on PayPal. Why should I move away from PayPal?
That's a great question, and we've heard it a lot of times, and the answer is really two or threefold. Number one, PayPal is just simply what we call old guard. It's outdated, and so churches that are using PayPal are not getting the participation that they need, period. Look at different studies and trends. PayPal is even phasing out of online shopping. So back in the day, if you were shopping online, PayPal kind of ruled the world. Well, now there are so many independent, anything from Stripe to Cube, you name it. There are other options out there to go and actually process a payment. And so PayPal is just simply outdated. Number two, it's a whole separate interface that people have to go to and work through. I mean a separate website and so on and so forth. The other thing is that PayPal, in addition, isn't the easiest to use in terms of what is possible today. People can give in less than a minute and 3 clicks, no scrolling at all. Scrolling's huge. And so PayPal is outdated on some of those things. And you can't customize PayPal in the way that you can a solution like Rocket Donations. So that's a really key thing that I mentioned. Participation, just say this, you also look at churches that we have worked with, and donations skyrocket when there's a customized solution that's as intuitive as Rocket Donations is. Another question actually just came through via email. A lot of churches want to know about the back end. How easy and how important is back-end processing for churches? And I mean like running reports, getting things into QuickBooks, getting things into other church management systems. It's important. It's important that it's easy. In today's age, time is extremely sensitive and important for everybody. You don't want to be spending a lot of time in your software. We always tell churches you want to spend as little time in there as possible. You want to spend all your time communicating with donors and talking about ministry and doing ministry and not actually being inside. With Rocket Donations, you can get in and get the reports you need, usually in about less than 10 minutes on a weekly basis or whenever you run your reports. In most cases, it's less than 5 minutes. So very easy. There's only a few key numbers that you want to focus on. We tell churches if you want to track the 2 numbers that matter, period. Number 1 is participation on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Are you getting new users, new ones, to your digital platform? And then the second metric that matters the most is, are you actually getting people converting to recurring donations? And hopefully that happens on their first donation if it's implemented with the right communication package. So that is the key numbers that you need to be focusing on your digital strategy.
If you're listening to this training live or on a recording, it's important to note one thing, that one principle, if you didn't catch it, Sam basically embedded it into the training. Successful businesses, if we as church leaders are to look out into the marketplace, to Main Street, if you will, and look and see how financial integrity, stability, and most of all, predictability, sustainability happens, it's when those businesses have recurring revenue models. And so as a church, as an organizational leader, as someone who's a learning leader, who, by the way, is exactly who we have been catering to all these years at the Rocket Company, with all of our training programs, etc. As that person, it's important to think, okay, how can I create a predictable stream of cash forecast that comes into our church so that we can do X, Y, or Z? That might be acquiring a new church vehicle. It might be that there's a hallway that needs a fresh coat of paint. It might mean that you need a new staff member or whoever that is. But making sure that you have recurring giving is the key, because we've done studies and that only 14% of churches in America actually beat their budget every year. And so the number one most common denominator amongst that 14% is that they have online recurring donations. So I have to ask you a question today. If you're on this training, do you want to be in the 14%? And it's not some exclusive club. It's simply a statistic that reflects what works and what's working for churches who at the end of the year, whatever fiscal calendar you follow, they're able to look at their books and realize that they're in the black instead of break even or in the red. And I know most churches out there would love to just be break even. But at Rocket Donations, we're actually way more interested in underwriting your church operational budget on a day-to-day, in and out, making sure you have the money to do ministry. Yes, Rocket Donations can help you with capital campaigns, special projects, certain allocations, all of that. And you can sign up for the consulting call right now at the link on the screen, and we'll show you everything behind the scenes. We're actually being kind of protective with Rocket Donations because we don't want 10 million customers like some of our competitors. We want to make sure we have partners, and we want to be a partner for you. So while other people are handing you a weapon, a sword, if you will, we're handing you an elegant sword, but we're also teaching you how to sword fight. And a lot of times they leave the sword stuck in the stone. So that's what Rocket Donations is all about. We've got another question. Sam, you want to tackle this one?
Sure. It's a question I get a good bit, and that is the mobile-enabled aspect. How does that work? Does mobile, because a lot of churches, when they look at their mobile, they go to their site from their phone, it's really difficult to use. So how does Rocket Donations actually play out on mobile device? Well, Android, iPhone, iPad, Kindle Fire, you name it, it looks the exact same as it does on a laptop. So that is crucial. And so where it's maybe 3 clicks, less than a minute for a donation on a laptop, it's the same thing on a mobile device. So it is very easy to use. Mobile enabled is huge. It's the future. Mobile devices are the new kiosks. We have some churches ask us when we consult with them, hey, what should we do with our kiosks? And the answer is, well, you can keep it, but 300 people can give in less than a minute on their iPhone while one person gives at a kiosk. So kiosks are going away in the long haul. The other thing I want to tell you is on this actual consulting call, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and we accomplish basically 3 or 4 things. We want to show you the Rocket Donation software, the actual platform specifically. We'll give you a donor demo and a back-end demo. The next thing we're going to cover is the actual strategy that we have designed based on over a decade of church leadership and financial coaching and success. The other thing we're going to cover is our concierge program. As we mentioned, the difference between a vendor and a partner, strategy is the biggest difference maker. But we also launched a concierge program that we explain on this consultation. And this is an actual concierge and success coach that goes with you for the life of your account. So it is huge because a lot of churches, to quote one I talked to earlier this week, we just need somebody to hold our hand because it has to work. Churches always say that. Hey, I don't know what, but it's got to work, meaning we've got to get more money for more ministry. Well, if that's the case, then you need a concierge. You need a success coach, which is also something we offer. So those are the elements we cover on our consulting calls. We cover the technology, we cover the strategy, we cover our actual concierge and dedicated success coach program as well, all included. These are not separate things. They are all part of the platform. So it is an incredible, incredible offering. And the other thing that we've put together is that if you actually mention this webinar, we've had a couple of churches ask us, hey, we want a fast start for 2016. Like, we want to make sure that we can get this rolling quick. We've created a Fast Start 2016 program. So when you sign up for your customized consulting call, again, the address meetme.so/rocket donations, make sure that you mention this webinar and mention the Fast Start 2016 program that is designed to help churches get up and running by January 1st. In some cases, churches are going to be live on Christmas Eve, which we know is a crucial night for the church. So don't forget to mention that, the Fast Start 2016 program. Mention this webinar, and there is actually an upgrade available for churches when they mention that and bring that up. So that's going to be crucial because it's like Josh said, churches that want to implement and want to take a step forward are the ones that do take a step forward. That's crucial to understand. It's the churches that are kind of hum-ho, they're not real sure if they want to invest any time or any money. Those are the ones that usually struggle. And at the Rocket Company, we're focused on creating success stories. The company, the whole inception of the company was about helping create breakthroughs. And to have a breakthrough as an organization, you've got to invest effort. You've got to invest dollars. It's just the way that it works. And so we're looking for churches. We created our Fast Start program because a number of churches we talk to, they say, we want to make an impact. We need to make an impact on our op budget, on our giving now, like yesterday. So that's why we designed the Fast Start program, is so you could do that. So when you're on the call, make sure you mention that. We'll cover the details of what that looks like. It includes some various upgrades. It includes some free resources and a promotional offer. So it's crucial that you bring that up in your consulting call. I'm glad I didn't forget that, Josh.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't either. And I've got a final thought. While I'm going to present this final thought, if you've got a question that's on your brain about digital giving, strategic, tactical, whatever that is, go ahead and type it in now because we're going to close down here in a matter of a couple minutes. One thing that we hear a lot is, and Sam kind of touched on it, church leaders are desperate. There's a certain population of church leaders who are just desperate to figure this out, to crack the code when it comes to not just online giving, but increased giving overall. And here's the thing. We exist for those who are desperate. We're also not a silver bullet magic wand. What we are is a systemic approach to increasing money in your church's bank account. We actually promise that we will increase your money in your church's bank account, and we'll talk more about that on the consulting call. But we do offer an unbelievable promise that will 10 times or 10x the investment that goes into Rocket Donations if you become a customer. But not all churches are suited for Rocket Donations, and Rocket Donations isn't suited for all churches. We're looking for people who want a long-term partnership, who are looking for some way to increase money for more ministry. So as questions come in, I'm going to look at these, and Sam's got one more point as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of churches that'll ask, what are we going to do to help our board, our finance committee? What are we going to do to help them understand what we need and what Rocket Donations is? We get that question a lot because we know that church leaders often, they know the need, they have the vision, they see Rocket Donations and Spark, and they are often, hey, wow, this is exactly what we're looking for, an actual partner, not a vendor. But what are we going to do? How are we going to convince, how are we going to convey the information to other key decision makers? And we have a solution to help you do that, and it's easy. It is a video wall that we've created that has, you can come and do your customized consulting call. You can see the link there to go and do that. After that call is done, we provide you with a web page that you can send anybody else to that has a brief, and I'm talking 5 minutes or less overview on the entire program, plus other videos and resources like a cost analysis. We cover some of the big questions. We cover our concierge program and introduce our concierge and coach on there. So we also help you with that. Sometimes church leaders feel like they have to go back and communicate all this information. Digital can sometimes be intimidating. So what we've done is we've created a solution for you all to convey the information to other key influencers and decision makers so they can see the vision that you see when you look at Rocket Donations and Spark.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here today. If you're watching this live, fantastic. Make sure you sign up, meetme.so/rocket donations. Even if you're on another provider currently, you might see that we have some unbelievable opportunities to help you migrate to Rocket Donations if you think it's a fit. We can help you bridge that gap. And if you're watching this on a recording, thank you for finding this training, and we're happy to help you as well. Just go to the link on the screen, and we will help you get a fast start on your digital giving when it comes to exploding money for your ministry. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be in touch very soon. See ya.